Hear me now? Can you hear me now? That I had mute pressed. Holy hell! I'm so sorry. Right, I'm going to start again. Be warned. I'm going to start again because I'm 8 minutes in and I've said loads of stuff. I don't know what I even said. If you could read my lips. Right, should we do that again? Wait a minute. Just let's pretend none of that happened. Pretend that none of what just happened. These things are going to happen. We've got 365 days. Stuff's going to happen. Right. Should we start again? The reason I was doing that was because Tim has me up on the television, and that's hideous. So I don't like that. So I can't see. I don't want to see myself. Right. Hold on. Okay. So, right. Just hold on. I've got to get myself back to where I was. Day 43. We're starting again. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to day 43. Today, we're talking about training your horse to stand still for trimming. This is a really important topic. And the reason this is a really important topic is because if you have a horse, I can't remember what I said before, but if you have a horse that is going to fidget, they're going to lean on you, they're going to snatch their foot away, they're not even going to lift their feet up, they won't stand still. Trying to teach them to relax and cooperate during trims is going to be a massive game changer for both you and your horse and you and your hoof care professional. It's so important. It's going to make everything, it's going to turn everything around. But far too many people don't know how to get their horse to stand still. And that horse can feel your lack of confidence. So they know when you're not particularly confident. And as horse owners, you do pick your horse's feet up, but you don't tend to do it for very long. You just tend to have a look and pick them out, and that's that. Gone are those days now, because now we need to keep the foot up. Even if you're not doing the trimming, you need to keep the foot up to take photographs. You don't want your horse wandering off. You don't want to have to keep shoving food down your horse's face for them to actually stand still to be trimmed. What we want is cooperation between the two of you and good communication. If a horse is an owner is struggling getting their horse to pick up their foot, and usually with the majority of horses, within just a few minutes, I can get that horse to stand still. But that's my job. And what I said earlier when I was in silent movie mode, what I said earlier was there are far too many people. Far too many people. Oh, let's just take sunshine off, because I think we don't need you on here telling me that you can't hear me now. You can hear me. There are far too many people in this world who are trained to do this as a job who can't handle horses. Everywhere we've seen those videos, awful videos, where we've seen farriers and hoof care professionals, full stop, where they've been kicking, hitting, punching horses because they won't stand still, putting the fear of God in the horses, because the horses are themselves not confident and worried. That's not welfare for the horse. And so we have to find a way to make sure that we're communicating properly so that we can make our trim as easy as possible, because you're not going to be quick, you're not going to be fast, it's going to take you a bit of time, and the thing you need is for your horse to just be there cooperating. So let me know in the comments. I feel like it's so deja vu. Let me know in the comments, have you ever had a horse that was difficult to trim? Do you have one now that's difficult to trim? What are the behaviors that you are struggling with the most with your horses? What sort of things do they do that stops you having a good run at trimming? Let me know in the comments. Okay, we'll start again, shall we? Right then, Marianne, I was saying to you, you're top of the shop. Well done. Well done. Stella's building her way up. She's on number 2. Sunshine's here at 3. Good afternoon. And Heather Swithenbank's been dropped down to place 4. And you've got to work your way back up, Heather Swether. I quite like Swether. I might call him Swether from now. So Swether has been knocked off, but she will be back. Howdy hey, says Garvin Ranch. Now, Marianne. Now I'm saying this. No, I haven't gone silent. That was just me pretending that's what I was doing before. So happy, says Marianne. Minnie's blood test showed Cushing's, insulin, sugar, all massively reduced. Yes. Vet in disbelief. She saw long toes, but said, look how much better she's moving, though. Send me some links. So I said, send her the SADP latest rocket science, or send her the playlist link. I think you can go to those playlists and send those links. Those are the links you need to be sharing with your professionals. And they'll be in, no, it's not happening. It can't be happening. I'm afraid it is. Science got it wrong. So well done, Marianne. That's awesome. Pia's here. Hello. Oh, I've just noticed I haven't got my day 43 thing and my little banner up. Deanne says, hi all. I would love to have a mini live on finding the toe pillar. Thank you for all you do. A mini live on finding the toe pillar. I will write that down and I will make a mini live on that. I will, I promise. Hi again from Sweden. I bet I'm going to get a load of people saying they can't hear me in a minute. Here they go. Maylin's here. Hello from Sweden. Hello. There's no sound, says it. Right, I'm going to whisk through you all because you're all saying there's no sound. Anne says, Snowy Stratford in Canada, welcome. Jenny Ackerstrom's here. Hey all. Says, George says, I can't hear anything. Volume, says Anne. Christy Ruggles says, am I the only one without sound? Hello, everybody, says Caroline Schillig. Lala, hello, Therese. Right, we'll whiz through them. Lydia says, hello, everyone. Stella says she's frozen. It's probably better if I'm frozen, frankly, isn't it? Hello, happy Wednesday. I can't hear you. And no, the stream has stopped. No, has the stream stopped now? Are we doing okay now? Please tell me everything is going fine. Please. Melanie says, no sound on Facebook or YouTube. I don't see your microphone. No, I don't. When I'm on my laptop, which is I'm on, I don't have my microphone. I've just got my headphone, my little AirPods, or I've got my big thingies. But I suppose I want to get a little portable microphone. I wonder if I could get one. No, Timmy, turn it down. I don't want to see myself. Sandra says, hi all, same, no sound. It's okay. Right, blah, blah, blah. Erin says, Lindsay, looks so happy, but no idea. No idea what she's saying because I can't lip read. Oh, God. Just lots of no's, can't do it. Was going crazy here thinking there was no sound. Right, can I get to the bit where everybody... Yes. Literally, I can be quiet. Yeah, let me just get down, all the way down to where you are. Yeah, now they can hear me. Yes, brilliant. So Dixie Bella has joined us. Snoopy Sar says no sound. We'll get you there. Kathy Yorkshire Lass says same here. Anne Chopra's here on. Did you move over to Facebook? Ruth Davenport, hello Ruth, good to see you. Carly Kafka's here. Hello, my lovelies. Right, you can hear me now. Right, what are we talking about? We are talking specifically about the fact that horses need to be able to be standing still. You need to have your horse standing still for when you're trimming, because if you don't, it will be a nightmare. Let me tell you this now. It's above all else, this is the hardest part of trimming. Is it really, I know that you go, oh my God, trimming is hard enough and the tools are hard enough and all of that. But truly the hardest part of trimming is trying to get a horse to cooperate that will stand still. It really is. So we've talked about this before, why some horses struggle with standing for trims. And usually it's about balance and it's about a little bit of lack of confidence or trust in you. And focus. They don't, if they don't have, they're like, oh, I'm enjoying my hay, oh, something's going on over there. They're so used to you being around them doing other things that when you go, well, actually now I need you to stand really still because now I need to get to trim you, they're like, no, you don't do that with me. You're my owner or my friend, or, well, I don't know if they think of you as a friend or a member of my herd. You don't do that. But there are some common reasons why horses are going to resist. So if your horse won't stand still for a trim, please understand they are not being naughty. Always an underlying reason. So let's go through some of the most common reasons. Discomfort or pain. If a horse pulls their foot away, or they lean excessively, or they're struggling to balance, they they may have hoof pain. But you know something? You probably know that already because your horse is lame. So you would know that. And you just have to work with it. You know, when we go to very poorly animals and we get that foot up for 5 seconds, and then 1, 2, sometimes not even that long, and then the foot goes down. Imagine that. You've got to do the most you've got to do usually on a horse's foot. You've got to realign that horse's foot. You've got to really get through that compaction. You've got to really get the balance right, and they won't hold their foot up because they can't hold their foot up. That's really when you earn your dollars, when you're doing that. And you've got to be calm, you've got to be relaxed, you've got to smile. That makes a massive difference. If they've got body stiffness, if they've had injuries, if they have got issues with their joints, or frankly, they've had some previously bad experiences, your solution to all of this is obviously you're checking for lameness. If your horse isn't showing any lameness, you've got to rule the pain out first, right? If horse isn't really showing you any lameness or showing you any hoof sensitivity, and you're pretty sure it's not joint discomfort, it's not muscle stiffness that's stopping them from holding the leg up, that's when we know that we can because normally perhaps they do normally hold their legs up. That's when we can then employ better groundwork skills. Groundwork skills are so important, and I know there are so many of you watching right now, but I would ask you to look within yourselves and say to you, every horse that I own, every mini that I own, big, small, in the middle, would all of them just stand there like a lamb, relaxed, calm, with their foot up for as long as it needs to be? And also something, have you got those sort of horses? Because you need to have that, right? If I'm going to trim my horses, if they're not going to stand still, I will do everything in my power to help them get to the point where they stand still, right? Lack of training, lack of handling, and we all do it. We're all guilty of it. We don't spend enough with certain members of our herd. We just don't spend enough time with them. They just simply haven't been taught to stand still or lift their hoofs properly. Happens a lot when owners get new horses and that horse turns up and they just won't cooperate, and it's not because they're being naughty. It's not because of any of those things. It is usually also not to do with pain. It's because they just don't know. Because they've been forced to do it in the past, and they just really don't understand, particularly young horses. So just like when you're leading or you're loading horses into a trailer, and again, that's another big element that owners get stuck with, is loading horses into trailers, because frankly, trailers are not going to be a natural place for a horse to go into. They're naturally a little bit claustrophobic, so they're not going to want to go in there, but you can teach them to do so if they trust you. It's all about trust. And standing for trimming, just like everything else, standing for trimming is a trained behavior. It's not something really that they automatically know. And I've said this to you before, and this is really, really important you remember this. It's a privilege to be able to pick up a horse's foot. People should see it as a privilege. They are giving you their leg. Their leg is incredibly important to them because it's their escape route out of a scary situation. So you always have to think about that. It's a privilege, and you should feel privileged and smile and calm words and touching and desensitizing. All of these things are really important. If they've got anxiety and they've got past trauma, bad experiences, they don't forget. They don't forget them, and they will associate that with horrible stress, rough handling, twitching, pain, all of those things. Needles, vets, the smell. Remember, they can smell stuff that we can't. And all of those things are things that will not build trust. And our job is to build trust by making these trimming sessions positive and very, very, very low pressure. We need them to be low pressure, not full of anxiety and, oh, I'm getting frustrated. But because you will get frustrated, especially when you're new at this and you're trying to, you know, even hoof care professionals get frustrated. We've seen the videos, but you get the foot up, you're just ready, you go to get your knife, your tool, or whatever it is, and you go to do this and the foot comes away and you're like, oh, and you try again. And it's very, very easy for when the foot goes down for you to just almost, you don't even know you're doing it half the time, to sort of almost lurch at the horse really quickly and get them to move. Don't do that. The foot goes down. It's a case of, right, buddy, what's going on here? Not push you around a bit, even though you don't think you're doing that. You can. And when I'm training students and I say, okay, just ask the horse to back up, lots of people will just immediately put their hand on and go to push. Don't do that. Would you do that to your partner, your kid? Well, you might do it to kids. You wouldn't do it to your dog. Would you do it to your friends? More likely you wouldn't. If you were going to put your hand on your friend's shoulder, you wouldn't do this. You would do it quite respectfully. And you've got to do the same when you're dealing with horses. You've got to be respectful. Both you and the horse can lack patience and focus. Many horses will get fidgety because they haven't managed to learn to stand quietly for extended periods. And in order for a horse to be able to do that, it's not because we're forcing them. They've got to relax. They've got to chill. They've got to go into that zone where they feel completely safe and they can just stand totally quiet. It's teaching them patience, and it's also teaching you patience. If you have these short, calm training sessions, that will help build up their ability to stand for longer trims. One of the biggest pieces of advice that I can give you that works usually like a charm, of course, with extreme behaviors, like I said, that's when you need more than one session. But with most horses, and I'm talking the majority, if you ask those horses to get out of your space politely, but you tell them to go back, and many horses can't even back up because they've not been taught to do so. And when you ask them to back up, they run at you. That's no good. So you've got to learn these groundwork skills. The aim is to ultimately get them a good 5 or 6 feet away from you, where you turn off your pressure and they stand still and you look away. Lovely big smile in the rope. That's what you're trying to do. And you let them stay out there. And many horses will feel a little bit out of their comfort bubble like that because they want to be in your space. And that's why teaching them to get out of your space and teaching them to stand over there, safer for everyone. And there's no pressure. They're out there. They can see you nicely because you're away from them and you can see them. And you just stand there and you give them a good 5-10 minutes, get on your phone, have a little look through Facebook, onto YouTube, watch another rocket science lesson, stand there for a good 5 minutes. And then ask them to come in. But when they come in, don't let them crowd you. Ask them to just, dirty dancing, say it all the time. This is my space and that's yours. Don't crowd. Don't crowd. I've still got Stella's. I lose my comments. They just go all over the place. There, Stella, I'll get you off there. Don't crowd, okay? Don't let them crowd. It's important that they don't. So when you're dealing with horses that are in this situation and they haven't got that kind of confidence, these are the simple little techniques you can use. And if your horse can't back up and back away from you, then you've got to teach them to do that first. Okay, you have to teach them to do that first. Training your horse to stand for trimming is it's not the trim that's important, really. It's the bit that comes before the trim. It's asking them to stand quietly and lift their feet willingly, how they're going to be, teaching them to be patient, to be consistent, to be, well, you have to be consistent, and you have to have that positive reinforcement. Okay, we'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment, but before that, well, I'm all over the place this evening. Let's have some more shout outs. I've lost you now. I've lost you. My Aquamare, you can have my hoof, but you have to hold it. So, right, it happens. It happens. It happens a lot with heavy horses as well. They're just so heavy. Well, that's where you have stands. But, you know, we want to teach them to be more alert, but calm. So very much more of a partner, but calm. Fiona says, hello, love these mini lives. I love them too. It's just as well I do. 365 of them we have to do together. You don't leave me alone. Don't you dare leave me. We've got to do it together. I know how I'm going to do it when I go to New Zealand and Australia. Yes, I have one which is pushing down and leaning on one foot on the right side. So we've got to get them to think about, don't lean on my partner. Don't lean on my friend. That's not a good thing to do. And if we push back at them, that's going to teach them focus. Focus on what we're doing. We've got to focus. Georgie says, my 4-year-old is very difficult and he's very big and he snatches his foot away almost immediately. So we now have to, that's all that lack of trust. So it's Georgie, back him off down the end of the rope and he has to stand there while you do something for 10 minutes and take the pressure off. Honestly, that will focus him on you. He needs to be focused on you. I have one who's very, very difficult, says Angie. Is that your stuff at Punch? I think it is. Right now, I'm just getting him happy with letting me touch his lower legs. Start simple, but do it consistently. Keep doing it. Don't just go, I'll do it today. You just got to keep on. Marianne, that's fantastic news, says Charlotte. It really is. Armini picks up the hinds just it's common. It's so common. It's so common, especially with minis. Just fine, but hates the fronts. They do. Holds them down. Eventually we pick up, but only for a few seconds before hopping. Very, very often when I'm trimming, even my own Shetlands, if they're not in the mood, and I'm a bit in a rush, don't be in a rush. But if I will pick up a foot, Shetland's foot, and that Shetland will stand up, actually on my hand, and you let them go up. You can hold them because on the front end because they're using the back. So you're up and you're like, hello up there. I'm not letting go of your foot. I'm still trimming. And they're like, no, damn you, I want my foot. They're little. They're little. And back feet's fine because we don't tend to put their back feet in an awkward position, but their front feet, it's difficult for them. They're tiny little people and their shoulders, and we lift up, we tend to pull them out because we are too big. And so we're not in a comfortable position for them. So you've got to be really super aware of their feet. And I've got one Shetland, one mini called Lily, who I always pretty much start with her hind feet. I never even begin with the front feet. There's no point because immediately her default reaction is, you can't have it, I'm going to go up in the air. And that's her default reaction. So I go, that's okay. I change the pattern and I go straight to her hind feet and I trim her hind feet, like you say, absolutely lovely, not a problem. Then I go to her front feet. I might give her a bit of carrot or something. She says, oh, that focuses me on you. I love you all of a sudden. And then I go to pick a front foot up and she might just be like, no, take your time. Like Angie just said, just keep stroking that leg. Up it'll come, down it'll come. They'll move this way, they'll move that way. Then when be patient, repeat yourself, keep putting them back in the same position. Don't chase them around the yard, bring them back to the same position. I'm not going to take my stand and stools and walk around the yard after these animals. They come back to me, right? And eventually they go, and then they calm. But when I pick that foot up, I have to get into awkward, contorted positions so that the game is that they don't end up that foot doesn't move. So I don't want that foot going all over the place. I want it up in a comfortable position and it stays there. I get myself moved around and I support it against my body. That's really important. If you have a foot that's wafting around in thin air and you're trying to hold this foot and it's moving around like this, they don't like it. They like to be supported. They like contact. Very often we don't give them enough contact. Contact is what they like. So there's a few top tips there. Karen says, most are good here, but one very large quarter horse pulls foot when he wants. One donkey is untrusting, sadly. Donkeys, it's about trust with donkeys, very much so. They appear very quiet. I mean, I know it sounds weird, isn't it? But you can read their facial expressions. Donkeys rarely, when they're in a mode of no, they stay. They have. I swear, donkeys would be amazing at gambling. They have poker faces. Donkeys have the poker face. They have these big ears. They have this very sort of gentle looking face, and it's like that. And you're going, I don't know what's going on in there. What's going on in that? The little no poker face. No, they'd win at equine cards. They'd win every time. Donkeys, every single time. They're crafty and they'd win. But they're very clever. They lull you into this false sense of security. Donkeys, that all is well until they suddenly just go and do things that will be quick and sharp, so sharp. I call donkeys the ninja warriors of the equine world. They are ninjas. I have, in all my years trimming, I'm not going to say lucky, because I've been careful and I know how to be with horses and etc., that I haven't been badly damaged, touch wood, and because I'm careful and I'm observant and I can handle equines. But I can tell you that if I get injured, or I have been injured in the past, it's usually been from donkeys, because you can pick up a back foot on a donkey, and Stella will agree with me. And this is where you've got to help donkeys become, really trusting. It's difficult, but people tend to not bother. And they're just like every other equine. You've got to help them. And you can go and get your rasp, and you can go to trim the bottom of the donkey's foot. And they have this ability to kick that rasp out of your hand all the way across the yard and put their foot down in a lightning flash. And you wonder what on earth just happened. And there's stony faced. Nothing actually went on there. It's almost like you didn't see it happen. That's a donkey. I remember once I was trimming, and horses don't do this. Horses can't do this. I've never seen a horse do this in my life, but donkeys can do this. So be warned. I had the donkey's hind foot in my hand. It was a left hind, so I'm this side, so body's this side, and I've picked up this left hind, and I'm getting in, and the donkey, and normally they have to sort of go like this and push you over, and when you're in this position with the horse, you're quite close, they can't really do much. And this donkey bent its foot, obviously at the lower part of its limb, and he just sort of went like that and kicked me in the face. It kicked me in the face with his foot, straight in my face, and fast and hard. And I had glasses on, and it smacked on the side of my foot and knocked me over. And I thought, that's something special right there. So now when I trim donkeys that I don't know and that I know aren't trusting, I make sure that my face isn't right down here looking at the foot, because they can do that. So I kind of, and then another donkey, I was trimming I think actually it was left-hand side again, left fore. I had their left fore up, and I'm trimming the left fore. You won't get horses to do this either. Donkeys can. Donkey leaned over onto the other two legs and picked up his left hind and whisked it forward and kicked me in the face with his left hind. Just incredible. They are ninjas. So be careful with donkeys, folks. It's very, very important. Donkeys are incredible, but poker face, poker face. Have an old arthritic boy so difficult to pick up his feet. Wish I had a sling to support his weight. Yeah, that's tricky. You have to get down low, really, really low when you're doing that. It's so difficult only having a few moments to do a trim. It really is. So you have to spend time. Remember, you're leading up to a good trim and you have to put the effort in on the groundwork way before the trim. So days, do it day after day after day after day after day. Get yourself a program and do it for 7 days. Anita's here. Have a wonderful day. Sancha says my AQHA mare is really smart. Just doesn't want to hold any foot up for long. Stiffest horse I've ever owned. I have had her since 1 year old, now 10. I just figured it is the draft in her, maybe. Do you know what? It could be, or it could become it's a pattern. It could have just become a pattern. It's just what she does. It's just what she does. And you will have a pattern too. I'll tell you a very classic pattern that horses have with owners. So I'll go, they don't like picking up their feet. I'm like, okay, show me what's going on then. And this is a new client and my tools are all ready now. And I'm just sat like that. And I go, show me what's going on. And they go to the horse and they go to pick the foot up. And as they pick the foot up, the horse puts the foot down and walks away. At which point the owner tries to stop the horse somehow with this little tiny 5'4" person, owner, female owner. She's pushing on the chest of the horse. So the horse is just walking straight through them. And the horse then the owner steps out of the way and the horse goes straight through. And then they do this little dance. And then the horse comes back around again and stops. And it repeats. The horse, they pick the foot up, the foot goes down, the horse walks forward, the owner tries to stop, can't do that, steps out of the way, the horse walks through, walks around them and back again and stands still. It is the most common pattern I see with horse owners. Same with the hind leg. They can pick the hind leg up, horse puts it down, walks away, owner tries to stop, can't, horse walks through, right. Got to stop that pattern. You've got to stop that pattern. He used to stand beautifully, but seems to be getting worse. We'll find out. Is this a pain response? Is it you? Is it your behavior? Is he not trusting you now? Just all sorts of things you've got to think about. Send me videos. Not all of you, obviously. I mean, well, I'd love to see all the videos, but yeah, it might take me a long time. My colt picks up easily, but doesn't have the strength to stay through leg affair. That's okay. That's okay. Work with them. That's fine. One more. Megan says, yes, my lovely new pony is very untrusting as well as having an injury. I couldn't get anywhere near her hinds initially, but slowly we're getting there. A huge learning curve for me too, as my other pony was in. Right. Oh, yeah. It makes a difference. Josie's here. Norfolk's joined. Victoria Tunkay's here. Brilliant to see you all. Okay, let's continue. So, basic hoof handling. Basic training. That's what you have to do. We have to work out if your horse is comfortable or not. Are they comfortable having their legs even touch? Start by just gently running your hands up and down their legs. You can reward them for standing still. Again, a great tip is just to get them on the end of the line and get them just standing out there just for a while. Leave them alone. Let them both leave each other up. Right there. Practice it daily for a few minutes a day. You must do that. Let them relax until they relax. You know what relax means. They lick, they chew, they sigh, they blink, they do all those sorts of things. They lower their head. Let them come off that tension. When you're teaching them to hold their leg up of their own, they've got to hold not just their leg up, but you're asking them to shift their weight and hold their weight. Now, one of the most common problems, as well as that common pattern, another common problem is the tugging. The tug. I don't even go down there and bend down. And can you imagine that if I did that every day, tugging on a horse's leg, it would kill my back. So I just put my hand down, front leg, go down, touch the chestnut. If they don't lift at that, but I don't want to be bending all the way down. If they don't lift, I give the chestnut a little squeeze, and within seconds they lift. The worst thing that you can do is hold the leg or the chestnut and keep squeezing. Let go, squeeze, let go. It's not picking his foot up, let go, because he doesn't know what you want. You have to hold, and it might take 5 minutes. It won't, but you hold until they make a, no, what? Stop, it's not letting go. Was not let, oh, and then there's a lift. That second you let go. That's how you teach a horse to pick their foot up quickly, but they may not necessarily keep their foot up. So the next thing that you have to do is make sure that they're on the right balance. Which diagonal are they on? Do you know what the right or the left diagonal means? So what is our, okay, question. What is the left diagonal? What's the left diagonal? Tell me what the left diagonal is. What 2 feet are on the ground when a horse is on their left diagonal? Okay, introduce your trimming positions. Get into your trimming positions. It's you half the time that you're not in the right positions and their legs are being stretched in awkward positions. If you're on the 15 and 10-day challenge, and if you're on the 10-day challenge, Gary talks about this specifically, about where the legs need to be and where you need to be in where the legs are. You need to have them in very specific positions to be the most comfortable, and that's on the 10-day challenge. Remember, the 10-day challenge comes after the 15-day challenge. 15 days introducing you to the whole concept of the Phoenix Way and diet management, feet, and then the 10-day challenge takes you into learning more about the tools, learning more about the trim, learning more about how to help your horse stand still. So all I'm talking to you now, we cover in the 10-day challenge. So if you're having trouble, you know what you've got to do. Get on to the 10-day challenge. Reward them for standing still. Practice in a realistic setting. Don't practice this when there's a lot of traffic going on around you. Go to somewhere quiet. Practice this where it's not too muddy. Practice it where it's not too tight. You don't want to be doing this in a stable. You don't want to be doing it in a tiny little corridor. Give yourself room. Introduce things like the tools if you've got horses that are a bit nervous. If their horse is going to pull away, so let's have a little checklist. Pulling away, check for pain, reduce the time that you're asking them to keep their foot up. Please, please smile. Use a soft touch. It's important. Sarah FKH says, how do I get the 10-day challenge? Sarah, DM us and we'll send that link to you. If you're on the 15-day challenge, because you have to do that one first. If you're on the 15-day, in the guidebook of the 15-day, there will be a link to the 10-day challenge for all those of you that are on the 15-day challenge. Yeah, so if the horse isn't going to pick up their foot, they're leaning on the opposite leg, balance them. Make sure you're on the right diagonal or the left diagonal. Whichever diagonal you need to be on, make sure you're on that, okay? If they're fidgeting or they're moving around and they're moving forward and you've got that pattern going on all the time, shut that pattern down. You've got to shut that pattern down, okay? Training for trimming and everything else. It's not just about trimming. This is training for them to just be good. You're a good communicator and you're listening, and this is a good partnership. It's a lifelong skill. You can do it with every single horse, and I cannot emphasize the long-term benefits of training your horse to stand still. It makes trimming safer, stress-free. It reduces the risk of injuries from pulling away, struggling, etc. It's going to help when you have vets around, when you've got other hoof care professionals visiting. A well-handled horse is really going to make it very much easier to manage in all situations. It improves their confidence, their trust, your trust, and that leads to just better behavior, a better communication all round, because a well-trained horse, my friends, folks, is going to be happier, calmer and healthier altogether. Okay, right, final little few shout outs. Let's see if anybody knew exactly. Let me have a look at here. I can't find you all. Where we are. Let's go down to the bottom. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, nobody answered that. Did anyone answer that? Were you just all too scared that you weren't going to? Oh, here we go. Heather says, what did I say? Which one did I say it was? The right diagonal. Did I say the right diagonal? Did I say left? I don't know what I said. So the near fore and the off hind is going to be their left diagonal. Now that's really interesting. I don't know whether you call this, you see, we always call it in the UK and in Europe, our near fore is the left, right? The one that's kind of closest to the side of the road is the way we used to teach people to do it. And the off hind is the one that's in the middle. I don't know whether that'd be the same for you because you're the other way around. But what we would call, if the left foot is down and they're leaning on the left and the right hind, left fore, right hind, that's the left diagonal. If they're leaning on the right fore and the left hind, that's the right diagonal. And so you have to then be, if you want to pick up their left fore, they've got to be on their right diagonal and vice versa, okay? Stella says, I avoid trimming donkeys on a full moon. No smokers, ninjas. Seriously, I'm going to remember that. Okay, right. Final little bit. Takeaway today. If you're teaching your horse to stand still, it's an absolute skill, and you will benefit them and you for the rest of your life. You need patience, you need consistency, positive reinforcement. You've got to be relaxed, you've got to smile, you've got to cooperate, do all of those things. So you know what's coming, don't you? For today's mini challenge, I want you to pick one of the training steps that we've discussed today. Maybe it's backing up, maybe it's to stop that pattern, maybe it's just to ask them to just get off the other diagonal calmly. Pick a training session we've talked about, or a training step we've talked about today, and do it for 7 days. Do it for 7 days. Whatever part of the trim you're struggling with, do it for 7 days. I'd love to hear your progress. Okay. Thank you for joining me today. I'm sorry I had a bizarre start. We've been on for 50 minutes because we had a 10-minute weirdo start. I'm sorry I was silent. I hope this session has given you the tools and confidence and ideas to train your horse and to give you that, come on, guys, you can do it. Train your horse to stand calmly and comfortable for their trims. If you found today's session helpful, please like, share, follow, subscribe so we can keep learning and growing together. Remember, the Phoenix Way is about teaching with patience, understanding, and setting our horses up for success. So until next time, my lovelies, until next time, till tomorrow, double live tomorrow, I'll see you then. Bye-bye.